All right, we're recording. Welcome, if you're watching this recorded, to ACOEP's resident lecture series. So this is a relatively new series, and we're so excited to be kicking off the 2023 year with Dr. Mack Brown here. I'll let him introduce himself, but just a heads up that we will have webinars roughly about every month, kind of targeted towards current residents or future residents, third years, fourth years, looking forward to residency on topics that, you might not get in residency education. So topics like finance, wellness, like we'll be talking about tonight. And if y'all have any speakers that you would like to hear from, feel free to throw it in the chat or email us. We're happy to find unique individuals to come talk to our students. So without further ado, do you have any slides? I can make you co-host.
No, it's you had enough slides in your lifetime. I don't need to give you any more web slides.
Perfect.
Let's talk as coworkers, as fellow physicians, because essentially that's what you want at this point, right? Third and fourth years, what have you become? You're essentially duckling doctors, right? Before you're like little goslings about to fly away out of the nest. So this lecture, when Katie had offered it to me, for me, this is a super important thing. It's essentially just about how to be well as a resident, because I didn't do this great at all. My intern year, horrible. I was super miserable because I didn't do a lot of these things correctly. And I want y'all to avoid this. So ultimately, we're going to be coworkers. We're going to be teammates. I want you all to be happier than I was my intern year. So just to start, my name is Mack Brown. Hello, everybody. I am a John Peter Smith third year resident, and I'm going into their medical education fellowship starting next year. I'm from Chicago, went to med school in Omaha at Creighton. Go Blue Jays, Blue Jay Pride. Winters are much harsher up there, so it's a great place to be, but 6 inches of snow is not a pleasant thing to wake up to. So kind of just to start, third years, you're not quite at the point yet where you're almost free. Fourth years, congratulations, right? Matches around the corner, you've done it. The hardest parts are essentially over, right? You're not doing the long hours, you're not constantly studying. The rotations that you didn't like being on, it's done, it's over, right? Preclinicals are done. Your tests don't matter, you no longer have to compare yourself with that one guy in the back of the class that scores 280. And the head that he has is the size of his ego. So that's over with, you're done. Third year's almost there, and you will get there, and it feels great. Kind of the fun and real work starts to begin when you transition into that early residency, and you'll kind of feel it early. You'll start seeing why you picked EM, the procedures, all the really, really cool things you get to do, like opening and reversing a tension pneumothorax and seeing those pressures pop right back up. Oh, it's like garlic on a really good sandwich, right? It's just that extra piece that makes everything amazing. Shift work is amazing. It'll lead a lot more time to yourself in residency. I'll have a thing on that in a little bit. The social group is very tight-knit because you work shoulder to shoulder, right? Most of the codes that I have with my co-residents, I try and get someone else involved in. Because one, it's great to have an extra set of hands. More hands makes less work. But two, you really get this great cohesion with your co-residents, and it becomes kind of the second family that you get. You'll have different skill sets wherever you go, but a good EM residency will prepare you for it all. And really, like, Texas is a great place to be, but EM as a growing specialty is continuing to be awesome. All right. Lastly, you're also the best person for that oh crap moment that, you're the plane doctor. You're the guy that goes, oh, I can take care of this, right? Stem me at 5,200 feet. Yeah, no big deal. Let's knock this sucker out, right? That's you. Some of the hardships of EM and the things that I think some people will see, but you may not see all of these, is shift work can get tough if you're not getting enough sleep. So you really have to have a really solid sleep schedule if you're gonna be able to do the shift work. Sometimes patients can be very hard to work with, right? You care for everybody, but that includes someone that may not be very nice. Some people may use an ER as a shelter, as a place to get out of the cold, right? A broad range of things because you take care of everything, but you also take care of some things that you may not find as much passion for. Sometimes when you call a consultant, they can be a little rude to you, right? Because the thought is you're giving them work. In reality, the work is already there. You're just letting them know it's there. Sometimes the off service It was also a little tough. Like being on surgery for me was really hard because the surgery program that I worked with for JPS would work 28-hour shifts. And I'm about 14 hours good. And then I just fall off the cliff. I run hard, run fast, but oh, good Lordy, I will fall asleep in a chair sitting up. I fell asleep standing up. So that was awesome. And kind of the last thing is more so than I think a lot of other specialties is you'll be with that family and you'll be with those people on the worst day of their life. All right. It's usually a sudden, right? That death in the family, that traumatic death that, grandpa was doing so good. What happened? God forbid, like the first pediatric patient you see pass, you'll never forget it. I still remember it very clearly. And I was messed up for like a good couple days afterwards because it's just so hard to come back from that. But that does transition to this first point. I know everyone hears the term resilience and they're like, oh my God, another person saying resilience. But I think we kind of break it down. It becomes less of like that scene in Rambo 3 where he gets shot in the stomach and he empties a little gunpowder, lights it up to kind of cauterize the hole. It's more about your ability to bounce back and being springy and elastic, right? You get hit, you get knocked down, but you bounce right back up. And that's one of the greatest skill sets you can have going into residency because you're going to have hard days. You're going to have very tough days. But if you get up, get back up, get to work, see the next person, go to the next day, it becomes easier over time and you get tougher over time. There's a great quote by Khalil Gibran that I know. Yesterday is but today's memory. Tomorrow is today's dream. I think if you have that mindset where, hey, I had a bad day yesterday, I got a lot of patients, I got slammed. You got to bounce back to it and think about tomorrow because every day is a great opportunity for the next piece. The three biggest things kind of coming into residency that I wish I had done a lot earlier is I like being on boats. I'm a boat guy. I'm one of those. Find your anchor, find your boat crew, and find your captain. First off, your anchor is that person you go to when you've had a terrible day. Mine's my fiance and my parents. My parents are not medical. They have high school education, so they have no idea what I'm talking about at the time. My fiance is an OB-GYN resident. So she gets a little more of the medical aspects when I complain about things, it's just tough. I had this heart procedure, this kind of thing. And you can vent and talk with them without having to worry about anything. It's a perfect way to kind of de-stress without having to worry about anything else, right? This is the most trusted person you have. The next piece is your captain of your boat, your mentorship. All right, don't feel tied down to one specific mentor. And I've collected multiple mentors along the way, and each person has been amazing in my life and has changed my life for the better. They have helped me, supported me, and they've never wanted anything back. And that I think is the best sign of a mentor, someone that gives and gives, but never expects something back. Dr. Jess Mason, Dr. Stefan Meyering, Dr. Roberts, the Holmeses, my program directors, they've all been amazing mentors to me and helped me guide along the way. They've been supportive on me no matter what. And then the last group of your boat is your boat crew. This is the people you're shoulder to shoulder with, your techs, your nurses, your co-residents, right? These are the friends you make along the way, right? The other people on the road with you. Get close with them. Find a couple, if not everyone, and really maintain that strong bond, and the ship will work better. Really have that cohesion and have that group think, and as a collective, you'll do great. This is not Squid Games, right? You're not competing with each other anymore. Your friends, your family, and work really tight knit with each other, and everything will be amazing, or a lot better than it could be, right? Next piece I want to transition to is using your time and benefits. This is another thing that I didn't do very well my intern year, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that y'all really maximize as much as you can. So my interns will do about 21 shifts a month, and about 9 hours of clinical with like 1 hour layover, but that works out to be about 190 hours a month. That's about a quarter of your time, right? And that's in residency. So you have 3/4 of your month essentially free. If you sleep 8 hours a night, that leaves a good solid about 300 hours a month to do what you need to do, average of 10 hours a day. Find something meaningful with your time, okay? Find something that you enjoy doing. It could be anything. I know a co-resident that runs Ironmans. I know another one that likes to go out to bars and explore different restaurants. I powerlift, I play video games, I mentor little med students, and I found a lot of balance in that and a lot of wonderful things with that. Granted, if you have a wife and kids, that's the most meaningful thing you can do with your time. I don't have kids. I have almost a wife. And that for me is the most fun I ever have. And kind of, I get to make her eggs every morning when she wakes up in the morning, that kind of thing. And it's a wonderful thing. And it gives me a lot of balance. But like, you don't be stressed about, looking at memes or watching YouTube videos, taking an extra nap, going out to bars and, maybe having a little one too many, but get a safe ride home. This is all okay if you do it in, I can't think of the word, do it in short amounts and do it safely, but really take your time and enjoy yourself. You are a person first, you are everything else second. And you have to, if you don't maintain that balance, you'll watch yourself burn hard. Okay. The other weekend, I watched the whole Twilight series. I'm not proud of it, but it was a great weekend. I spent it amazing. And I'll be dang, that next day I came back, fresh as the morning dew, I felt great. Besides your time, your benefits are also very, very important. Use your PTO, okay? It's not a punishment to someone else. It's your time to get well. Use your benefits, right? Take your vacations aggressively. With my PDF funds through my home program, I was able to get my Texas license paid for, which is incredible. Although I still have not seen a dentist in 2 years, it is paid for. I need to, but I'm not mastering everything, but I'm still getting there. You can do this better than I do. See the dentist, all right? The next piece I want to transition to is finding your niche in emergency medicine. If you clock in, you clock out, you really miss out on a lot. Find something that you enjoy. Think of it as like building your CV without really building your CV. You don't have to do it for the CV, but do it because you want to try it. Administration, outreach, homeless care, ultrasound, toxicology, medical education. You don't know it until you try it. You don't know you like it until you try it. I know I like Celine Dion until I watched the Titanic, and she's amazing, right? It's the little things in life that you learn going along the way that you feel like, oh, this is awesome. I like doing this, right? And these are things that as you progress along, you'll find opportunities and interests. Research is another thing that people love or they don't like, but you don't know you do it. You don't know you like it until you try it. Another piece that I feel like is never harped on enough is how to study in residency. There's 1,000 different people say 1,000 different things. One of the ICU attendings I look up to greatly, she was an EM doctor that became an ICU fellow, now an ICU attending, told me that learning in medicine feels like you're on fire, which is very accurate, right? That's when you're really getting it in, is you're realizing all these things and you're learning. It's a different kind of learning. You're not sitting there with a book. You're not sitting there with pages in front of you, staring at a computer. You're doing it on the job. You're doing it very quickly. And these things will come to you very, very fast. And you won't really realize you're learning something until you're like, oh, I know what to do with this, or I've seen this before. Granted, every single patient, try and take something from the nurse, from the tech, from something, right? A physical exam finding, something. Try and learn one thing from every single person. And then if you really don't know something, take that time to go home and study up on it. Like the first time I ever saw diabetic ketoacidosis, I had to go home, read up on it, and I attach it to that person and I never really forget it. There's different ways to do that, but that's what's worked for me. Study plans are a little bit different. You're not going to want to study when you go home. You're going to be exhausted. Okay. I've tried multiple different things. I used to be a big book reader. I ended up just doing questions because that was the fastest way for me to get education in. So now I do 10 after 10 every day or 5 every day. Some days I don't do any. Some days I do a lot. It's about that kind of consistency, and that trickle method is what I've seen and what I've heard from the residents I've asked, residents I've talked to that have done the best on testing and when they did their boards and just straight medical knowledge. Little bits at a time, because you're not going to have, especially in EM, right? Our attention spans are already so short. I got probably 20 minutes before I'm a million miles away. But that's so important just to do little itty bitty things at a time. The next part is a little bit harder, and I'll give you a little bit of story, a personal story. My intern year, during my surgery into my pediatric month, I emotionally was awful. I had to start taking antidepressants, saw a therapist, and I wish I would have done this a lot earlier because I suffered for so long. I didn't need to. You got to get help early when you need it. And it is okay to not be okay, but it's not okay not to get help when you're not. And that is probably the biggest highlight of this entire thing, is to know that you got to get help when you need it. and get it early. Same with habits. Don't start drinking to help you fall asleep. Don't go down the diet seek hole and start eating cake every night. You got to nip these things in the bud earlier, and the earlier the better. Because then you spend endless time or needless time suffering and doing things you don't like doing for no reason, because everything is there to support you. And that's another thing that your anchors and your captains are great for. Okay. Go to them when you need help. And another piece I learned from a physician that works overnights is even when everything's burning down, even when there's 3 people that are super sick and you're behind on 30 notes, you still have 5 minutes. Take care of yourself. Drink some water, eat some food, get like 3 cups of coffee in you. At this point, I just chew the beans because caffeine doesn't really do it for me anymore. And you always have those 5 minutes, right? Especially when someone comes in from waiting room like 3 hours in. Well, 5 minutes is 5 minutes, right? What's another 5 minutes before you see that person? Okay. And then the last little piece is kind of the best and last things to remember before I end this short talk is that you've worked your way to this point. Remember that you are worthy, you should be proud of yourself, and you are someone that is somebody, okay? When you get to that residency point, you're thinking, holy crap, I'm slinging pressors, Tylenol, CT scans, this is amazing, And you got to that point, not because you lucked into it, not because, someone may have picked you up, because you got to that point because you earned it, okay? On the other hand, when you're working, remember, it's okay to not be prideful. Understand that, hey, this EMT has been here for 30 years, knows a thing or two. This nurse is fresh out of school. Listen to her. Listen to your people. Listen to your staff. Listen to everyone around you. If you speak less than you listen, you will learn so much more and so much faster. Next piece, mistakes happen, and that's okay. Residency is not meant to be perfect. Residency is not meant to be, hey, I'm a doctor now, I'm ready to rock and roll. No, be okay being wrong. Be okay taking the lessons, okay? Try and catch them before they hurt someone, obviously, right? Because you are a physician, you have that power now, but it's okay. Don't beat yourself over these little things, You'll remember all these failures way more than your successes. I've intubated over 200 people at this point in my residency career. The only 4 I remember are the 4 that I failed. And that's something that you always think about. So now the next time I have a really bloody airway, I have a set of Kellys, I have 2 extra suctions ready. And that's the thing that prepares you the best. It's scary when that happens. You're like, oh crap, this isn't great, but that's what your team is there for. Your support is there. Imposter syndrome is very real. I still think to this day, like, can I do this? Like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm about to graduate. It never goes away. But once again, you've worked it, you've earned it. You see these people, you know what you're doing. And the more you do, the more you see, the more, knowledgeable and safer you become over time. You are part of the medical care, the giant that is medical care. Your admin, your staff, everyone else is there to support you, and they're all there with you in the trenches with you. Don't get angry when things change. Don't, get frustrated. Talk things out, but know that, there are things that you're there to do. You are a doctor, a learner, and an employee as well. So when things change, go with the flux. Learn how to adapt to it. Your life will be 1,000 times easier. Always give more than you get. That's just a great piece on life. I got that one from my dad. He's like, yeah, I got this. And I'm like, absolutely. That's a solid point, Avoid the negativity hole. I thought this was pretty funny. The negativity hole is very deep. It's full of complainers and it's stinky. It's a horrible place to be. Try and be as positive as you can. Find the happiness in everything that you do. Every little thing, and your mindset will change over time. I was a miserable intern, and I was a much happier second year because I started kind of shifting the gears, seeing the therapist, getting help, being open and learning about, hey, these things are actually pretty cool, or hey, I had a great day, or hey, I got to hang out with a guy that's homeless and have a Shasta with him. I still remember those things because those are great. Those are great memories for me, and those are the things you'll get on your journey. And it is a journey. It's a rough journey, but it is a great journey to be on. I'm so excited for you guys to be on it. Lastly, you get to do the best thing in the world, which is making days better. And you get to make a lot of days better. At this point, I'll open up to everyone it's an open discussion. I'm an open book. I'm happy to talk about whatever. Nothing's off the table. I'm here to support you guys in every facet possible. So let her rip. I see the clapping emoji. Thanks, Katie. I thought it was a prayer at first. I was like, damn, I know it was that bad. Yeah. Yeah. Also got my little mug from when I was a med student. It says, trust me, I'm almost a doctor. I still feel like I'm almost a doctor. It never changes.
Please, if anyone has questions, seriously, this should be a discussion. If you want to personally message me, I'm happy to read out your questions if you don't want your name associated with them. But since this is being recorded, but yeah, this is totally an open discussion. And thanks, Dr. Brown, for being really personal with some of those stories. And I know that even as a third-year med student, I can certainly resonate with a lot of what you're talking about. And I think that you know, that learning curve and learning from failures and really everything you mentioned applies to med students all the way to residents. So yeah, unmute yourself, ask the incredible Dr. Brown all of your questions and how you can be more like him.
My phone number is in the chat. You guys can text me about anything at any time. As long as I'm not sleeping, I'll respond to it. I know Spencer has my number when we hung out when he was rotating with us. Yeah.
Not a question. My name's Steph. I'm probably the only other resident I'm an intern at UIC in Chicago. I'm on the board of ACOP RSO. Just wanted to highlight a point that you pointed out, because that was a mistake that I made, is the not eating and drinking during shift. Literally my burnout was like so bad after my first month in the ED, because I would barely eat and I would have come home and then I would like stuff everything in my face that like I could find at home because I was so starving. And that was like, that's so unhealthy. And as soon as I changed that, you know, and I had snacks on hand, I had, you know, my water bottle right there. I know it's like technically not allowed, but everyone does it. It like changed my mental health, my well-being. So definitely listen to him on that. Is take that like 1 to 2 minutes, even 5 minutes. Like it's totally okay. The patients, like you said, survive 3 hours, 5 hours in the waiting room. They can, they can hang on so that you can be a better doctor. So just wanted to highlight that, and thank you for a great talk.
Thanks, Steph. No, that's solid. Yeah. I still struggle with it. I bring a bunch of Quest bars and sodas with me, and I still like, oh, I should probably eat something. I'm 5 hours in. Yeah. Spencer?
Yeah, so Mac, if you got half a day to yourself, what is your ultimate, like, I need to just empty my bucket and recharge today? Like, what's your ultimate half day activity?
Ooh, well, probably like go to the gym, take a nap, make some food, take another nap. I got a couple different games I'm backed up on, so I have to start playing those, working through those. Texting the folks, you know, little things. Just depends on whatever's going on that day. I have a family farm about an hour north, and they have a bunch of mini animals, and I go there quite a bit. Yeah, Abby, I'm a big nap girl too. I respect it. Yeah.
I have a question that's like kind of related to everything you've been talking about, but I was just on surgery and I had like one shift that was just terrible. You know, one of those where like nothing's going right. Like patient was really mean to me when I'm just doing my best. And then you have to come in the next day at 5 a.m. and kind of do it all over again. Like, how do you kind of bounce back like quickly enough?
Yeah, I think kind of the biggest thing is when someone's mean to you, they're not mad at you. They're mad that they're in the circumstance they're in. And if for me, that's a way for me to direct it off, because I'll have someone that's miserable, yelling at everyone, whatever. It's like, well, their home life is this bad. They're in the hospital. They're not feeling great. It's probably why they're not mad at you. I mean, I don't know how anyone could be mad at you. You're so gosh darn nice. But in general, don't direct it at you. It's directed at life and the situation in general. And even then, if someone's trying to be mean directly at you, heck them. Who cares, right? What are they going to do? Ignore them, brush off your shoulder. I still have, I have a couple great stories of med school and residency, just very mean consultants. It's like, all right, whatever, you still have to see the person. So at the end of the day, like, what are you gonna do? So that's I think the most important thing is don't take it personally. Nothing's personal. All right. Especially, I mean, you're so nice. They're not being mean to you on purpose. So
Thank you.
cheers, friend. Cheers on all of that.
Hey, Mac, I have a question for you.
Lulu, the
First
world,
of
what's
all,
up?
I want to just thank you for once again giving us your wisdom. I know there are many people on this call who have greatly benefited from your advice in the past, myself included. So especially like I feel like this is the perfect timing. I'm like, you know, for the most part, our rank list is out of control, and now the reality of residency is starting to settle in. So your advice is perfect timing. But so my question is, you know, involvement has always been something that's like really filled my cup and brought me joy, and I feel like really recharged me. And something that I'm nervous about for residency is like how to prioritize what to get involved in and like not overcommitting myself while still like getting involved in the things that I like and staying involved in the things that I like. So do you have any advice on prioritizing involvement as a resident?
Absolutely. I think, to be frank, intern year, just survive, learn, see patients, do something to make you happy, but don't feel like you have to get involved. If you want to do something on the side, one of the things I've always done through my, like, since I was in high school was Special Olympics, and they closed for the pandemic. And then I'm like, oh crap, what else? What other things can I do? Intern year, just focus, get it done, maintain your wellness, maintain happiness. Second year, start having time. Inch by inch kind of deal. You have 2 years as an upper, or potentially 3 years if you're in a 4-year program. Take your time, do it slowly, because don't do what I did and do a million things at once, then get overwhelmed second year. You know, like kind of trying to catch up a little bit. And then now I kind of have a pretty good setup where I kind of know what I can do, and then I have a little calendar set up. And if I have a little checkbox, and if my checkboxes get about 3 or 4 behind, then I have to stop taking things. I have to stop doing extra things. So find your system, find what works. Intern year, just play it cool, and then you can start finding other things like the HSO, the house staff office that I became a part of, my chair position with med student recruitment and advocacy. Those are little things that you love and you cherish along the way, because you get to do things that otherwise you're like, oh, I didn't know this. I know this was a thing. I know this was the thing. All right, all the things I've done with TCU and TCOM this year, I've loved every second of it, because you learn that, one, you have time, but two, you start picking things up along the way, and then connections ultimately, right? Katie offered me this, of course, right? Any wisdom I can bypass my little ducklings, of course I'm gonna do this, right? But it's the time you have to cherish it, because it becomes a commodity, and it's much shorter than you think. 300 hours seems like a lot in a month, and you're on an ER month, but it's not as much as you think. So does that answer it, Lulu?
That does. Thank you.
Perfect. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I have another question on
Shoot, Katie.
overall topic of wellness. So you mentioned that, you know, you have a fiance, and I assume you're very busy with your relationship, and she's in residency too. How do you balance and prioritize like your relationship, especially as I am sure you both have very busy schedules? How do you like plan time, kind of set that aside with like all the crazy stuff that y'all both have going on?
Yeah. I think I'm fortunate in the way that she's also in residency, so she understands the hours, and I understand her hours, because she is an OB-GYN resident. So her hours are significantly harder than mine. Let's just be real here, because she works 12s every day. Sometimes she works 24s, right? And that's her base setup. She has like 2 days off, 3 days off a month, 4 days off a month at most. I prioritize taking care of her. I make her breakfast every morning that I can. We spend whatever time that we can together. But at the end of the day, it's like the person makes it worth it. Like, I love her more than I love anything else in this world. So for me, it's not hard to wait for her to get home to work around her schedule. And whatever, right? I'll do it in a heartbeat. So yeah, I have no problem with it. And she does the same for me. And I feel like it's harder if your partner is not in medicine, as it just isn't, like, he or she may not just quite understand kind of the hours and the requirements, but I'm fortunate in that she does understand. We started dating when she was a late med student, so my hours have gotten progressively better as I become an upper, and her hours have gotten significantly worse since she started residency this year.
Yeah, I like that, especially just like small sacrifices that, you know, you might have to make for your partner, especially with, you know, different hours and whatnot. But
Well,
yeah.
especially like I don't have kids, but you know, if you have kids, that's, I feel like, the most cherishable thing you have, or you know, your partner. That's the time that means the most, and that's the time that gives me the most wellness. So I'll sacrifice lifting, I'll sacrifice going on a walk, I'll video games, whatever. I'll sacrifice everything else so I can get to spend time with her, and that becomes easier and easier over time. And now, like, we got to watch every Sunday we've had off, so we've gotten to watch the that new show. What is it? The
The
Last
Last
of Us.
of Us
We love watching it. Oh my gosh, yeah.
makes
Episode
me
3.
cry every
heavy
week.
winner. Oh yeah,
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
that is so good.
My fiance is not in medicine. Thing that we've started doing whenever I get the my schedule is we sit down and we compare our schedules, and then whatever night, you know, we have both off, or he's very active with sports and stuff, we, you know, pick a new restaurant and make reservations like a month in advance, and like make sure that we have at least like have a date night every 2 weeks on the calendar. And that takes some advanced planning, and we definitely did not do that the first couple of months of residency, but then we didn't have date night because we didn't realize, you know, when we were off. So that's something that I've done in residency that's helped me.
Planning goes a long way in residency. You like, I got a calendar set up next to me, and this thing has saved my tuchus more than anything else has, because I'll forget things constantly. But this calendar over here is incredible. Actually, there. That's all it is. This is my entire life written out, and it is incredible. So figure out what works for you. For me, it's this, my crappy handwriting on a dry erase board.
Also, speaking of planning, I've heard from other residents, and obviously this could be institution specific, but I know you had mentioned like taking advantage of your benefits, whether that's vacation or PTO. So do you have any advice on, especially like going into intern year, on really how to maximize that? Because I know a lot of places will kind of force you to put those dates in so far in advance that you might not even kind of like know what you'll be doing at that point. But yeah, if you have any kind of thoughts on how to maximize all of those benefits.
Yeah. So like the PTO thing, my the residency I'm at, the chiefs are incredible at getting the scheduling set up. So it's very easy to take time off. We also self-schedule. So if I need to take a couple of days off here and there, if I want to do something like a simulation or whatever, I'm able to do that because I can make my schedule around it. Now, that may not be the case at every residency, but given that this is shift work, it's not too difficult to trade if need be as well. Granted, I only know one residency because I've only been at one residency, so it may be different at wherever you may be at. If you have to do it earlier, just get dates you know you're going to do. Your birthday is always a great one. I always had my birthday off, which is fantastic. Your other benefits wise, my residency is incredible at getting full benefits like EPO, dental, vision, everything. I haven't used the dental, which is kind of a shame. I need to. I have a fake tooth I need to get checked up because it's not doing great. But everything else, I mean, you do what you need to do and know that these things are there for you. Your PDF funds, your advancing education, whatever, they're all there to support you. And if you don't use them, you're leaving something on the table that, one, you pay for, but two, it's part of the role. You are an employee, a physician, and a learner. Part of the employee thing is doing all your duties and everything, but two is using the benefits and everything else you have to your full advantage. This year, I took PTO, I think 3 days or 4 days every month. So I get like an extra, like a day off, an extra like shift reduction. I've done that, and that's a great way for me to take a little bit of extra time off when I need it.
So Katie, in April, let's plan for a resident lecture series titled "Going to the Dentist," and we're gonna Mac Brown. You're invited.
Fair.
I-
I'll go to the dentist by then, I promise. It's really embarrassing.
I also need that too. I don't have a fake tooth yet, but the last time I went to the dentist, I discovered, I feel like everyone knows this story, but it's embarrassing, that one of my teeth actually has died. Like there is no nerve or blood vessels to it, like one of my front teeth. And so, yeah, I need to go back because I feel like a fake tooth might be in my future. So I think we all just need to go to the dentist.
Yeah. What time was that at? Was that tooth hurting?
No, so I can't even, the thing is, I can't tell. It's a little bit discolored.
Katie, you're making a pun.
2:30? 2:30?
Tooth hurty.
I'm putting myself on mute now.
Katie, I have a fake tooth. This one. This
I have a tooth that never came in. Like I lost it as a kid. I just never had it. So
Mm.
a bunch of pictures from when I was like 16 to 21, where I'm just have a little black space in my mouth. Not great.
I got elbowed in the face 2 days before I got braces, so they didn't think anything of it, and then my tooth was gray. So now it's like, yeah, if you need any dentist recs around here, I got a great friend. That's a
highly recommend. The
Hey.
JPS dental services are incredible.
oh, okay.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but I'm feeling like I'm gonna have nightmares now if I hear any more gray tooth stories, but I'm already kind of getting like shivers. Ah. My husband, Chad Holmes over here, we go to the dentist as a family of 4 and we just bombard this place and we're like, just take us all. The 2 kids, both of us, we just all get taken care of, usually like on a Monday afternoon when we have a day off, which is the beauty of ER, right? You can sometimes take care of stuff when you least expect it, but it's 7:40. I am so over the moon proud of Dr. Brown right now. He is just such a all-star for our residency program. He was a absolute all-star as a med student. We're just so happy that we get to keep him as a med ed fellow next year. I've loved him since day one. And so as an attending, I want to make sure that we all step off so that you guys can have the real conversation. But I just really wanted to support you and hear all your good tips and pearls because you got a lot of them.
Yeah. Speaking of captains of your ship, right? She's small but big hat captain.
Good to see you guys. And I'm happy always to support ACOEP. You guys are awesome. So yeah, good luck. It's exciting. We're all nervous.
Thanks for joining us, doctors.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. And okay, what's up, dudes? I'm kidding.
Is there
No,
anything?
it's amazing. Like I told my faculty that I had this, and it just kind of goes to show who they are as people and how supportive they are. That they all want to come and just to see, right? And that once again, if you, I know obviously 3rd years you have this option. 4th years is too late now, but find that collective, find that residency group that gives you that feeling. And that was the biggest piece for that made me pick JPS. Because yeah, I like seeing sick people, I like seeing crazy county patients all the time, but it's that group, that the boat that you're on, right? That boat is led with people that really do give a darn about you, and they care about you, and they really want you to do well. And that probably, of everything I've said today, the most important things, that's probably number like 3. Okay. So it's okay not to be okay is number 1. And number 2 is you're amazing. So don't forget that. Number 3 is pick a place where you know you're gonna be supported like that. This is pretty lit. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
I think that's a wonderful place to stop the recording, and then we can just chat for a few minutes if anyone has any lingering things. Oh, before we stop the recording, I will have another plug that we are going to be coming out with dates for our next resident lecture series. And then we also have Spencer, your lecture about personal statements, and that is March
2nd is this Thursday.
Oh, nice.
At 7 p.m. Central. So we'll
I believe
be
so.
hosting all of that. And so definitely for third years or crazy second or first years who want to get a head start on
Question.
that.
Yeah.
Spencer, your
The
thing
title
says
is
your thing says
What's that?
7 Eastern.
7 East. Yeah, so 7 6.
Okay. Okay, good. That's
Yeah.
what I've been posting. I
You're
just
correct.
wanted to be sure.
Yeah, this one was on CST. That one was the banner said Eastern. So thank you
Okay.
for the reminder. Yeah, the title is less boring, more sandwich. So puzzle over that one.
Man, is the third year all as a match day?
No, the 17th.
Okay. It still feels weird that it's already March, isn't it? Oh, Lordy. I'm about to be attending. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Woo!
I forgot February is a short month, and I was seeing that like JPS is taking applications on visa starting